Boxing King, media powered by the Riyadh season and BYD. Eddie, I've got to ask you, seeing as I can see you got your legs out there, I saw you early. I saw you sneak into the restaurant earlier. They've got strict rules here about shorts. How on earth did you blag your way in?
Do you know what? Because it's like, so I walk in and I'm not staying in this hotel. I've got sort of space here and backwards and forwards, but I'm actually more based at another hotel. And then I walked in, they went, really sorry, sir, but no shorts in the restaurant. And I'm like, well, I haven't got any clothes and I'm meeting people in the restaurant. Oh, I'm really sorry, but you can't come in. I was like, and I hate saying this, yeah, I was like, could I see the manager? Yeah, no problem. The manager comes over, I thought this would be sweet. Hello, mate. I said, I'm helping with the big boxing show. I said, I've got some guests here and media I just have to speak to for 20 minutes. So obviously got the shorts on, but you know, they're quite nice. Just going to pop in. Oh no, sir. It's strict instructions. There's no, I'm like, oh, then I have to call another geezer over. The next thing he's like, so who are you? What? Anyway, I managed to get in for 20 minutes. So very strict, and rightfully so, by the way. You know, I'm sorry for anybody that can actually see part of my leg, but yeah, I managed to blag my way in. And
Good effort, because it happened to be
Jai Opatai's team all had sarongs on. I was like, very smart. Like, it's not really.
You know, I was waiting for you to get one of them on. I had my camera ready.
I would do it. I'll be up for that. I'll be up for a sarong. David Beckham wore one many years ago, didn't he?
It did. Talking about the 90s here, you've got Missy Elliott performing on Saturday night. How mad is that? That's from our age era.
Yeah, Kiara as well, yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it. I think that it's going to be a great occasion on Saturday night, because not just is it an incredible fight with some great fights on the card, but also the whole opening of Riyadh season. And I love it out here, to be honest with you. Like, it's so chilled, isn't it? I mean, been here, I don't know how many times I've been to Riyadh now, a dozen times. And every time I come back, it just amazes me how much and how far it's moving on in so many different ways. And yeah, looking forward to what I think will be a great night on Saturday.
We will indeed. I'll start with the women's fight. Sky Nicholson. I just had Frank Smith the same question. How much pressure are both women under to make sure that is a really good fight to watch? Because it's the first female fight in Riyadh season.
Yeah, and I think the styles will gel well. I mean, there's kind of a perception that, you know, as you heard Raven say, you know, Sky runs. There's a difference between boxing with great feet and movement to running. And if you run, you'll get beat. And I think people, and this applies to when you're fighting Sky as well, people just think that someone with great feet, you've just got to walk them down, and when you get close, let your hands go. It's not that simple. Like, 11 opponents have tried to do that against Sky and no one's really won a round. But I think this is the kind of fight that will actually complement what she does even more. And Raven's a very good fighter. You know, it's a very dangerous fight, but she won't have to go looking for her. And I think she might stop her. You know, I know, speaking to Eddie Lamb and the team, she's punching very, very hard in the gym, and this kind of style will bring out the best in her. And I think that both girls have got an opportunity to move into the brackets of those big names in the sport. You know, obviously Katie Taylor's and Serrano are right up there, but you know, the Chantel Camerons, Michaela Myers, Sandy Ryans, you know, this is to take that next step to start being, you know, at that level. And I think it's a really good fight, and a perfect, you know, two fighters that I think are grateful for the opportunity, not just for the fight, but to set that way and to pave the way, because every sort of facet of boxing has benefited from Riyadh season, apart from women's boxing. And hopefully that changes on Saturday night.
And I'll just fly through some of the fights. Ben Whittaker, we've seen you guys flirting with each other back and forth. I don't know what the real situation is there. So before I talk about his fight, because I remember you saying a while ago that he had one fight left or something like that. What is the deal with that?
I've no idea where he's up to contractually. You know, we just sort of have a bit of a laugh and flirt around. I think that in all honesty, you know, when I look at other people's stables, there's not really many fighters that I would want necessarily, like I would go out of my way to sign. Ben's one of them. I mean, I think he's a star. And how can I say it in the nicest possible way? I think that star could shine a lot brighter. That's what I think. And, you know, I think he could be a global star. But we'll see what happens. You know, we're not interested in any conversations with fighters that are under contract. So if a fighter like Ben Whittaker becomes available, we'd obviously be extremely interested.
What does he do against Liam Cameron, who just came up short slightly against Lyndon Arthur?
I kind of think it's a bit of a... No, one of the ways that, you know, one of the problems is I don't think the matching for Ben Whittaker has been very good. He's an exceptional fighter, and he's actually levels above where he's fighting at the moment. And Liam's a good, strong kid, but I think Ben could have been moved quicker. Still, you don't have to have a huge amount of risk, but all the pressure's on Ben Whittaker on Saturday night to look good. This is the problem. And, you know, Liam's clever, he's experienced, and, you know, he's got to frustrate Ben in there, and that could lend itself to being a bit of a scrappy fight. And Ben, because Ben's so flashy as well, everyone always jumps on your back to criticise it if you're a little bit under par. So, but listen, he's won for the big stage, and I believe he'll come through on Saturday night.
Yeah, your mate Chris Eubank Jr., how are you going to deal with when you come face to face with him? Because I've seen you in recent times, like the most recent example, Devin Haney, who called you some names on Twitter and you put it on him at the show, and you've done it with loads of fighters in the past. If somebody says something about you, you kind of front them up. You're going to come across each other tomorrow or tonight. What's going to happen?
No, I don't know with Eubank. You know, I've known him for a long time.
Would you approach him?
Not really. I think when you... The thing with Devin is, what I didn't like about Devin was I found it a little bit snidey, the way that he went about it. Like, if you got like, at least Eubank just said it. I mean, he didn't really say it to my face, but he said it a couple of yards away from me. So I half respect it. I don't agree with it. When it becomes personal, it's a little bit different, but I didn't really find it, you know, there's still a lot of legal action going on now around that incident, but not from me, because I said in it, I think he's a plonker, and he don't really like me. If he thinks I'm a scumbag or whatever, that's all right. It don't mean that we're going to be, you know, going backwards and forwards. But I sort of sat there, not laughing, but smirking, thinking, this is all good in the grand scheme of the show. Obviously, certain things he said about other people, and obviously they took it differently to I did, and some of them was well below the belt. That's up to them, how they respond with it. But
you said there's legal stuff going on. What do you mean? Can you expand?
There's stuff being, you know, obviously how I react might be different to how someone else reacts, and maybe what was said when it got to me. See, what he said about me was factually completely incorrect. Can't be asked. What am I going to do? Send him a legal letter? And like, once you say stuff that, if you say something that I feel really strongly about, that is really kind of a real personal attack on my business, my reputation, and then there's him, and I just think, I don't know, we've never really got on. I don't mind him. I just think, you know, like he thinks I'm a scumbag, I think he's a bit of a plonker, to be honest with you. And, you know, when you look at the Ben situation, when he was trying to make the fight, when all the information was out there, but for more money, that's everything you need to know. Do you know what I mean? Like, he wanted that fight when he knew all the information, but he just wanted to get more money out of us to do it. So we're all in, at that point, an uncomfortable situation, and I believe it will lend itself to what will be one of the biggest fights in Britain.
Well, you name dropped Conor there, and that was one of the things. I was kind of slip it in line between the Riyadh show. What is the latest? Because we heard January, February, March, April, and you will have seen all the rumours online. People suggesting, you know, is it a silent ban, or have they made agreements outside? Could you quash all that kind of stuff?
There's no silent ban. There's no decision. There's nothing. So, you know, there will be, I believe, a decision this month, and that will allow us to know when he can fight. You know, whether that's going to be in December, January, February, whatever. That's the kind of parameters of what we're looking at. So it's imminent, I believe, his return, and we'll see who it's going to be against. He's got a lot of options, Conor Ben. But, you know, I won't lie, the Eubank fight's definitely a big fight.
And the resolution of that, I'm guessing we're going to find out when the facts come out fully.
yeah, I mean, it'll be a decision that the board, UCAD, Ben will have to make, and you know, it will go from there.
Okay. Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clarke, you've got no promotional involvement in that fight. Just drop us a quick prediction.
I don't know. Like someone asked me on that earlier, and I think the problem is like you don't know a lot about their training. Like I think Fraser needs to be conditioned better for that fight. I think he faded in the straight. But it was a heavy duty fight. Like I don't blame him for that. Fabio's very sharp. I worry a little bit about Fabio's nose because that damage. And I remember like Brian Rose and like people like that, and it's going to open up, but it's when it opens up. Do you know what I mean? And it can affect him in the fight. And so Fraser's got to get to him early, but that's dangerous because Fabio's a sharp counter puncher. That's a really good fight. Probably lean a little bit. I think the experience of that fight would actually help Fabio because he hasn't really had many fights like that. Do you know what I mean? So I may give him the slight edge, but two great lads, and I wish them all the best.
First person to pick Fabio today that I've spoken to. Yeah, everyone's picking Fraser. Bivol, Betty, obviously you're in the Bivol business, so does he win on points or does he stop him?
Yeah, I mean, you'd always, if you're going to pick Bivol, I think you lean towards points. But at the same time, it's a very, very dangerous fight. This is going to come out in a lot of interviews I've done, but it's the best way to describe it. When you fight beterbiev, it's like a ticking time bomb, and you've got to slow the clock down before he gets you. And if you can do that and leave yourself time, you win the fight. But if you don't, and the clock goes too fast, it's boom, and it's all over. And a lot of fighters haven't been able to slow that clock down. He cuts you off, and what you can't afford against beterbiev is to be 4 or 5 rounds in, and all of a sudden, and already the pace is too hot. Already there's damage. Already you're feeling it, because you ain't going to survive. You've got to be 6-2 up after 8. Do you know what I mean? And even then, you got to. But Bivol's got the footwork. Like people don't realise that when you fight someone with great footwork and rhythm and timing, it's not just you got to walk them down, let your hands go, beat them up. It doesn't work like that. Usyk, Shakur, like all of these great fighters with footwork, it's not that easy, and you're getting pinged everywhere while you're doing it. So Bivol's work rate's going to have to be so high. His footwork's going to have to be so good. But the only person that can beat Artur Beterbiev in the world is Dimitri Bivol. So he's got to get it right on Saturday.
Jai Pattaya, big favourite in the fight against Jack Massey, but I spoke to Jai's team. They're seeing Jack Massey as the toughest challenge based on what he's done.
I actually think it's a good fight. Don't forget it's a Brit as well, fighting for a world title and a Ring Magazine championship. For Jai, obviously the focus is on unification, so sometimes you can take your eye off the ball a little bit. I don't think he will. But I expect him to win by late stoppage. But Jack's very tough, and I think it'll be a good fight.
You have seen Tyson Fury's interview yesterday where he talked about potentially fighting AJ. Just your reaction to the full-length interview. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I mean, look, one day he's 100% in fighting AJ before he retires. The next day he's will never fight him because he's a dosser. So whatever, I hope that he does fight him. But, they've both got fights that they must win coming up, and anything could happen. But I do believe you'll see that fight before they retire.
Just last couple of questions, I'm going to ask you some quick fire ones, because I tried to mix it up yesterday and ask the fighters some different stuff, so I'm going to ask you as well. I spoke to them about their phobias and fears, and some came out with spiders, some said rats, some said snakes. What's your biggest phobia, or something that you're scared of or paranoid about?
Good question. Don't really have a phobia. I think it's like things that I know that I'm not very good at. It's not like a phobia, but like I'll give you a good example. It's a bit random, but skiing, right? All my mates go skiing, and they go, it is the best holiday you will ever have. Like, you have to go skiing. I know that I will be useless at skiing. Terrible. There's no way I won't break my leg skiing. So I don't know, you just got to go to ski school for a couple of days, you'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? So stuff where I know I'm useless at, and there's not many things that I actually acknowledge that I'm useless at, but that kind of thing. As far as like phobias go, I think like if you ever think about what gives me like the shivers, is probably like going through a tunnel or having to crawl through a tunnel. Yeah, but like my head's massive, right? So I can't even, like, not just in terms of ego, but actual physical size. You know, like having to go through a tunnel where there's like that much gap between your eyes and the ceiling. That actually, just saying that actually, yeah, that might be, yeah. Yeah, but I'm not like, if you put me in a box over there, like, I don't know, but it's like, and like trying to, and then getting stuck, and actually that's made me feel a little bit sick. So
there's
yeah,
videos online that make you squeamish watching them. And this is a proper deep question. Do you ever question your own existence, and what do you think is your purpose to life, like being on this planet? Do you ever think of things like that, and do you have an answer for that?
No, I never really question my existence. I do feel that.
What do you think? What's the purpose to life?
I'm not really that deep, to be honest with you. I just kind of live every day. I think the one thing that I get more conscious of as I get older is definitely the fear, if you like, of living your life and then getting to the end of it and going, fuck, like I never actually did, like, and now at 45 you definitely feel a little bit different about time is running out. Like, hopefully I've got another 45 years, but I could have another, I mean, I could have 1 year, I could have a day. But as you get a little bit older, you start to realise that, you know, I talked about that ticking time bomb. It's a sand timer. Yeah, everybody's life is a sand timer, or an egg timer, or whatever it's called. And you just, that sand that's going out, that when that's gone, life's done. So I think as you get a little bit older, you know, the one fear is that you put all of your time and your passion into something that you feel is your purpose or your love. For me, it's the business, and it's the sport and the game, and it's the fear maybe of getting to 70 or 80 and go, fuck, what, hold on a minute, how's that sand timer looking? Fuck, you know what I mean? And going, but I don't think you can ever do everything. I think the best thing that I've learned, and the best bit of advice that I can give you, is follow your heart now. And in time, that may have been the wrong decision, but if you follow your heart and the now, you can never look back with regret, because at the time it felt like the right thing to do. Do you know what I mean? So however I think about at 70 or 80, I might look back and go, you know what, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have done that. That's irrelevant. How I feel now, this is what I feel I should be doing now. This is what my heart is telling me now. And if that changes over time, you can never look back from regret, because you acted with how you felt inside, not what someone told you to do, or not what the book says you should do, what you felt was the right decision. And if you do that, you can never look back with regret, because after the fact and hindsight, that's irrelevant, mate. It's the decision now. It's a bit like, I know it's like in a boxing related sense, it's a bit like the whole roll the dice now, AJ, or breaking down, AJ. At that time, the thing that felt like the thing to do was to roll the dice and try and win that fight. Don't look back after and go, oh, you know what, mate, no. At the time, that was the decision that you made. And in your heart, that was what it was telling you. Now, if it was wrong, no problem, but you still did what you felt was right at the time. And for me, if you do that, you can never have regret.
Beautifully put there, Eddie. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that.